Thank you guys for sharing that story, and I'll just say again, I'm honored to be up here and with all of you folks for America. So I grew up a farm kid on a 2-acre vegetable farm, and that farm no longer exists because my parents couldn't make a living farming and they had to go get off-farm jobs. So now I work for Iowa Farmers Union as the policy director. I represent about 1,200 farmers around the state at the State House and in DC, making sure that we stand for policy that is good for farmers, not for agribusiness corporations. I'm also the manager of a food market, a local food distribution company called Grinnell Farm to Table. We work with about 40 local producers, getting their food to consumers, to food service, including schools and to food banks. Again, America needs farmers. The kinds of government programs that are government funds determine what kind of farmers we have. So, just a quick little history lesson, because I don't know that most people know the history of government farm programs. They started in 1933 at the peak of the Great Depression. The FDR administration started to fund government price supports for farmers because the price had dropped so low that farmers were actually pouring their produce and things into rivers. People were going hungry and farmers were just letting their food go to waste because there was too much supply. So as soon as the government put in those price support programs, the stable income from price supports has allowed for innovation in the farm industry. It's allowed for a stable food supply. And just for reference, from 1850 to 1930, the average acre corn yielded 20 bushels per acre. From 1930 to 2025, that number has increased to 180 bushels per acre. So government price supports work. They help farmers. The major question as we're into 2020s and we have corporate farms and all these agribusiness corporations is, who do the government farm programs support? So up until 2020, commodity farms were the only farms that received price supports through the government. So you had to be growing corn or soybeans or some other commodity. So unfortunately, a lot of the dollars that go out to these commodity programs are given right back to the input companies that farmers are buying from. So farmers get some commodity payment money, then they have to go and buy their seed, their fertilizer, their chemicals, all these things. And so the government's paying out billions of dollars. The farmer keeps this much. The farmer buys all the equipment, the seeds and everything from the corporations, and that's who gets the government money. The farmers don't actually benefit from those programs. So, during the peak of the pandemic, the previous administration found out that they could actually give price supports to a different kind of farmer, a small farmer. And they did so through a program called the Local Food Purchasing Assistance Program and the Local Food for Schools programs. So what these did, there's a fact sheet about it I think some folks out there have. These price supports gave state governments money to buy food from farmers and then give that food to food banks and to schools so that it could be used and given healthy food to our communities. And because we have the best soil in the world here in Iowa, we became a nationwide leader in this program. There's over 400 farms signed up to sell food into this program. It started in 2022, and over the past few years, $6 million worth of food has been sold into this program, into schools and food banks. And instead of that money going out to multinational corporations, it stays with our small farmers in our communities and allows young people to come back and farm. So let's fast forward real quick to last month. The Trump administration on March 18th announced $10 billion in economic aid for commodity farmers. They said, we're going to expedite this payment because we know commodity farmers have had a tough time and there's going to be more because we're bringing on tariffs. So they're providing Iowa's corn and soybean farmers with payments of $43 per acre and $30 per acre respectively. If you do the math, 26 million acres of commodity farmland in Iowa, that's roughly $910 million flowing into Iowa through these commodity farm programs. Now, most of this $910 million will flow right out of Iowa into multinational corporations. On March 10th, the Trump administration announced that nearly $1.1 billion, which was allocated for the local food purchasing program and the local food for schools program through 2028, was canceled. Farmers in Iowa, those 400 farmers I mentioned, had been planning for these programs. They had bought new livestock, they had bought new apple trees, they had bought their seeds. There was supposed to be $11.3 million coming into the state for this program, and it would have made a huge difference. So I'm here to ask you, Marionette Miller Meeks, empty chair, are you going to let all of the work that has been done by small farms, food pantries, and schools go to waste?
Yes.
Or are you going to advocate to the USDA and in the Farm Bill that these programs must come back?
No questions. No.
If there's note cards to write questions on, I'm sorry, I gotta follow the rules. So, while we're talking about small family farms, these small independent family farms are the farms that are most likely to use conservation programs and renewable energy programs. And organic farms as well. Some of these programs include the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, EQIP, the Conservation Reserve Program, and REAP, Renewable Energy for America Program. All of these programs are currently at risk, and we're hearing that the next Farm Bill is, Republican leadership is going to try and scrap out conservation and nutrition programs. It's now incredibly risky for family farmers to consider doing conservation programs on their farm because they don't know that the payout will be there anymore. So I'm going to ask Marionette Miller Meeks and all of our legislators to stand up for a unified farm bill, including the commodity programs, including SNAP, including conservation programs, and including local food purchasing and local food for schools. Let's keep standing up so that Iowa farms can benefit from our government programs and not large multinational corporations. Thank you.